24 of the Huddy Hui. It's fantastic to be back live, isn't it? Adam Julian and Adam, of course, today, two passionate Silverstream boys, and what a victory it was in the gully.
15-3 over New Plymouth Boys High School. Somewhat unexpected because New Plymouth Boys had a wonderful start to 2021, defeated Auckland Grammar School, Whanganui Collegiate, who were very strong, and even St Kennigan's College from Auckland. Silverstream, by contrast, lost to Hastings Boys and St Bede, so their form heading to New Plymouth wasn't very good, but today they played an outstanding match, especially in the forwards, where they really bullied New Plymouth, and an intercept try by Tony Solomona in the second half, dashing 95 metres, euphorically clear, was the exclamation mark on a very fine win for Silverstream. Rare that Silverstream wins at the gully. They went 18 years without a success, and then they won in 1988. They went another 11 years without success, won in 1999, and today just their 33rd win in 90 clashes with New Plymouth Boys High School.
Well, of course, last year, Luke Walmsley missed the kick to win the game out at Silverstream, and we called that game, Adam. That was an exciting game. But the gully, of course, is one of the most famous secondary school grounds in the country, isn't it?
Well, essentially, it's an amphitheatre which resembles ancient Rome. The boys do a roaring haka 3 or 4 times throughout the game. And New Plymouth Boys High School, historically a very formidable side. They produced 29 All Blacks, which is the 4th highest total of any school in New Zealand. And as I mentioned, their side this year was 6-0 before today.
That's right. And of course, they beat Auckland Grammar in pre-season. And someone that knows about playing against Auckland Grammar is our first guest tonight, USP First 5, Aidan Morgan. Aidan, thank you for coming on the Huddy Hui tonight. That game between Auckland Grammar and King's College is one of the top traditionals in schoolboy rugby. Tell us about the experience of playing in that traditional.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me. I played a few games against Auckland Grammar in my schooling time, and definitely one of the great rivalries in schoolboy footy. All the schools both schools get behind their teams, and it's a pretty special occasion for both schools.
Of course, on Saturday you played Tawa. That was Marist St Pat's second loss of the season, and of course you played fullback that game and scored an impressive 60-metre try off the pass from Isaiah Patello. Good video evidence of that. Tell us about how Marist St Pat's has been going this year. 2 losses, but there's been some pretty impressive performances by the Catholics.
Yeah, I think we've had a really good start to the year, and the boys are looking in pretty good shape as a team, and we're building nicely. Obviously, tough loss on Saturday to Tawa, but thought Tawa played really well, played smart, and just had it over us that day. But do think that the quality of this Marist St Pat's team is pretty high, and I think there's exciting things to come with the rest of the season.
Brad mentioned your background at King's, but King's is not where you started. Take us back to your junior days and how the opportunity arose to be at King's in the first place.
I was just a regular schoolboy at my local primary school, and playing footy for them, and an opportunity came to start schooling at King's College, and just through rugby, and I took the opportunity with both hands, and loved it ever since. And since I moved there, loved playing footy for King's, and loved my schooling time there.
What's unique about King's culture? Because it really is one of the most prestigious schools in the country. And for our Wellington viewers, can you capture the sheer scale of that game against Auckland Grammar?
I think King's not the biggest school. There's probably about 1,100 students there, but a real tight-knit community, and big rugby fans, and the whole school gets behind their first 15. And it's just awesome atmosphere, especially at those games when we play at home. All your mates out there supporting, and on the sideline, and there's chanting, and a big school haka as well, which was pretty special. So really enjoyed getting opportunities to play in those big games.
And you played plenty of big school games, Aidan, because you were involved in 2 1A finals and a national final. So tell us about some of those experiences.
It was pretty special. Pretty fortunate to be a part of a couple of really good Kings teams and made it to two 1A finals. Had to lose the first one, but I guess you have to lose one to win one. And in my final year, eventually got it done with a pretty special group and all my best mates playing with me, which was pretty cool. And managed to go all the way to that national final, but fell at the last hurdle. But still a great year and probably some of my best memories playing footy with all my mates at Kings in that final year.
That first final you lost in 2018 was absolutely extraordinary. Capture the ending.
Yeah, I think we were down by 3 or 4 points, and right on full time we made a break from about 60 metres out. Lucas Halls, our centre, chipped it over the top, and then an unlucky bounce, and we dropped it over the line right on full time, and St. Peter's kicked it out to win the game by a couple points. So yeah, it's pretty hectic finish, but probably set us up for the next year. The boys were pretty hungry to get the job done.
Describe the dressing room after that and explain the result did change 12 months later.
Yeah, I think whenever you lose, there's not really much to say. So it's obviously quite a quiet dressing room, but we got around each other and we're pretty close-knit team. So we sort of just flushed that and tried to not think about sort of what happened and connected as a team and just moved on, I guess.
The close-knit teams, who were your best mates in the side and who were the coaching mentors that have helped you flourish?
I played long. Most of the team were real good mates of mine, but probably my greatest memories were playing with my best mate Mayhana, who's a centre. Played all through high school with him, and fortunate enough to be able to team up with him again. Coming up soon with the NZ20 side.
And of course, Aidan, you made the New Zealand secondary schools that season as well, and have gone on to be selected to the New Zealand under-20s this year alongside Ruben Love. Tell us the experience of playing for the New Zealand under schoolboys side.
It's pretty awesome experience, and definitely very humbled to get that opportunity to put on the New Zealand schoolboys jersey. And it was a good campaign, a lot of learning and a lot of growth for me playing at that next level, and definitely being able to play with the high quality of players that were in that team was pretty awesome. Fell short in the game against Australia with that team, but definitely a memorable experience and loved every minute of it.
So describe the move to Wellington in 2020 and why did you choose Marist St. Pat's as your club?
So opportunity arose for me to move from Auckland down to Wellington to play rugby and to study here at uni. So took that opportunity and I haven't looked back, and I've loved my time down here so far. And an opportunity arose to play at Marist St. Pat's, and I met with Zach, the Premier coach, and he showed me around the club and introduced me to some of the players and thought the fit was right for me. So I signed up for Marist St. Pat's at the start of 2020 season and enjoyed my time last year and have loved it so far this year as well.
How was it coming from Auckland, where you had a big reputation as a fine schoolboy player, moving to a different city and a club where Petone had been the first five since before you were born, basically?
It's cool to be able to have a change of environment and meet a whole new group of boys. So moving to Marist St. Pat's was cool, and the boys were very welcoming and brought me in. And I'm enjoying the style of rugby that we play, and I think that is a quality side there at Marists. So hopefully we can go one better this year, falling short of the semi-finals last year.
Did you feel like you needed the change despite all the success at Kings?
I just felt like I needed to push my boundaries a bit and move away from where home was up in Auckland. So I think moving down to Wellington really did that, live on my own a bit, have to grow up, and I've loved it so far. And I think the rugby development program down here is really good. So definitely a good move for me.
You had a few runs for the Wellington Lions. Share those experiences with us and also explain the change in your Hurricanes contract status.
Yeah, last year, sort of unexpectedly, was contracted with the Wellington Lions and was fortunate enough to play a few games off the bench for them last year. But I think just the experience of being full-time, training with the team full-time, showed sort of how the game's played at the next level, and a lot of growth for me personally, learning off some of the top players around in that Lions environment.
And Ruben Love's a great friend and competitor of yours. How are you different and how are you the same?
I think Ruben's a great player. He's also a really good mate of mine. Played a bit of rugby with him throughout schoolboy level, and he's playing extremely well at the moment, and he's definitely probably a different sort of player that I am, more athletic and probably a bit more flair than I've got, but in a way probably pretty similar, both younger boys in experience, but sort of focus on our core roles and play a bit of 10 and fullback. So yeah, we have great good competition in and around training and push each other pretty hard.
That's a very polite answer. Do you genuinely mean that? And where is your best position, 10 or 15? Because he covers the same ground that you do as well.
I think moving forward for me, I'm probably more of a first five, but I do enjoy playing fullback and had a bit of time at fullback for Marists this year and enjoy having a bit of time and space out wide and just to have a bit of a go on attack.
You think very deeply about rugby. What are your interests off the field?
At the moment, I'm studying a Bachelor of Commerce degree at Victoria University, so that keeps me pretty busy. But outside of that, just hang out with mates, play a bit of golf, get around the city, and yeah, just chill out when I have a bit of free time.
So Aidan, there's one life member at Marist St. Pat's is very hard to please when it comes to Premier Rugby, but he is your number one fan. That is Budgie. Budgie, of course, one of the legends there at Marist St. Pat's Rugby Club, often hides up in the bird cage there in the MSP gym. And I've never seen anyone get so emotional after you kicked a winning drop goal against OBU in the Swindale Shield last year. So tell us about some of the legends there at the club at Marist St. Pat's, and have you had any discussions with any of them since your time there?
Yeah, well, definitely with Budgie. Budgie's one of the greats. He's always up at the club rooms after a game, and had a few yarns with him, and he's always got plenty of critiques on my game each week. But he's a good, loyal Marist man, and yeah, he loves the club, and he's a good person to have a yarn with after a game.
So this weekend is the delayed 50th Jubilee celebrations for Marist St. Pat's, and of course, last year, well, they released their book anyway here, Come On Red, but a club with a strong history, and of course, you're playing Upper Hutt this week. Tell us what the weekend involves, and how are you approaching the Upper Hutt Rams this Saturday?
Yeah, obviously a pretty special occasion for the club, and I think the Upper Hutt Rams are a pretty quality side from what I've seen. So we try to take each week as they come, and just sort of focus on not get too far ahead of ourselves. But the quality of club rugby down here in Wellington is pretty high. So I think anyone can beat anyone on their day. So we're just really trying to just focus on ourselves and put the best performance out we can, and hopefully get a win for the 50th Jubilee.
Well, Aidan, it's fantastic having you on the Huddy Hui for our episode tonight. Go well on Saturday and enjoy Old Timers Day.
Cheers. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you, Adam. Fantastic interview with Aidan Morgan, a young man with a promising rugby career.
Nice young man, and alongside Ruben Love, two of the better prospects in the back division that have existed in Wellington for some time. Unfortunately, Wellington have struggled to produce decent first fives in the past half a dozen years. TJ Va'a at Scots was a very promising prospect once upon a time, but a wretched injury history perhaps denied him the chance of fulfilling the success that he was capable of. Harrison Boyle, playing in the United States of America now, was another very good up-and-coming young player, lost to Wellington. Morgan and Love, two mature young men with a lot of athletic ability and common sense, and hopefully they continue to compete hard and succeed.
Well, there's a few anniversaries on around the country. Of course, Marist St. Pat's, as mentioned before, having their delayed 50th celebrations. But this weekend, the mighty Eastbourne Rugby Club out there in the isolated suburb of the Hutt Valley, celebrating 100 years this year. And, of course, having a big celebration this weekend. We were going to go out there a few weeks ago, but their game got cancelled. But we are going out there this Saturday to watch their game against Huddy Hui Marist. And our guest tonight plays in the under 85s, the only senior team in the club. He is a Silver Stream old boy. He's played for the Paniki Premier Reserves for a long time. And he's also a school teacher and a Year 11 Dean at Wellington College, and he coaches the forwards. So, Jack Coles, thank you for coming on the Huddy Hui tonight. And it's an impressive win over St. Pat's Town last week. And key to your team's defence was was how you got over the ball and stole about 8 or 9 holding on turnovers off town.
Yeah, Talofa Lava Bread. Julian, thanks for having me on the show. The key second half defence really came through for the boys, We had a strong second half performance and we're really proud of that. I think looking at our stats, there's an area we still need to work on, but in those tough games, we know we can dig deep and we've got it there if we need it.
So how do you manage the workload between playing, coaching, and also being a teacher and a dean? Because it's a busy week in the teaching world.
Yeah, it is a busy week. These winter months, workload surely is ramped up a bit, but we've got an awesome coaching and management staff, that help us out along the way. Johnny Petone Chambers, our head coach, he really pulls his weight around the park, and does a lot of the organising. And it's a great team.
What's the appeal of coaching the first 15 at Wellington College? Such a storied history, but recent times have been difficult. So why has Jack Coles decided to take on that role?
I've always enjoyed coaching at school. Schoolboy coaching is great to have that relationship with the kids. I've coached the under 15s last year, and that was a bit of a step up from the weight grade rugby that I've been coaching in the past. And I was ready for the challenge. It's good learning as well. Keen to take my coaching elsewhere from the college. So first 15 is sort of a good stepping stone there. And look, we're having a really good season so far. The boys are getting around it. It's definitely got that feeling that we might go some places this year. So I'm enjoying it.
It's a team with a lot of promise so far, and of course you've got 2 big games coming up over the next few days. On Saturday you've got Scots College at home, and then you host Silverstream in the traditional Wednesday. So there'll be a good challenge for your first 15, which is showing a lot of promise.
Yeah, we have the big gun teams up first, which is good for the boys. We really step up. That win against St. Pat's Town has definitely given us a bit of a boost. Scots this weekend, look, they've got a big pack. They've got a strong team. A team may be facing a bit of injuries like ourselves. So, it'll be good to see how the boys go this weekend and see if we can back up the performance from the Wednesday game just gone.
Wellington won the under 15 grade last year, Jack. How many boys have graduated to the first 15, and what was the key to the success behind that triumph?
So we've got a couple of boys this year that have stepped up. One of our props in our first 5, he's come through the system and they're in the team now. And a whole lot of the boys are also playing in the second 15, which is really good to see them progressing their rugby. Last year, look, we had a tough season. We had a few losses on the way, ended up finishing 4th on the comp, but we were quite fortunate against St. Pat's Town in the game we played there, and sort of the players that they could field. And the final was an impressive game out at Silverstream. We had our first 5 that really stepped up and scored a majority of our points that game. And look, it's just a bit of hard work, I suppose, from the boys. They get in, they get stuck in when it counts.
Did you make any changes to the structures at Wellington College when you're involved with the under 15s? Because, as I mentioned, the side has struggled in recent times, and it seems that you're turning a corner positively.
Yeah, look, we built on a really positive season from the year before. They had a good win that year too. So, that was a platform for us to kind of step up. I think we're starting to see some boys with quite a lot of talent coming through the system, and that always helps, both in the forwards and backs. we've finally got a bit of size around the college as well, which is good to see, and especially in the Wellington competition, we come up against some pretty big and strong opposition. So I think the boys feeling like they can hold their own now in the grades, and seeing the success before really helps.
The size disappeared there for a while. Why have they returned?
I'm not too sure about that. I guess it's just who enrolls and walks up the drive. I guess we get a lot of our students coming in from Karori, and usually they fill up our weight graded sides. But I guess it's just whoever walks up the drive, and we're not a private school or a school that doesn't have any zoning. So we take what we get, and we've been lucky in the last few years.
And as an old boy of Silverstream, how do you feel about tackling Silverstream in a big traditional in a fortnight's time?
Oh, I think there's no better feeling than to beat your old school. You don't want to lose to what you think is the greatest school in Wellington. So I think beating those guys is going to be that's definitely a goal for me for this season, and getting to play them at home at Wellington College, and getting the whole school out there to support, and seeing some of those Dooley boys come in as well to watch on the sidelines. So it's going to be really good. And I've got a connection with some of those coaches as well through the Petone system and some courses we've done this year. So it's going to be a good challenge.
So you mentioned Petone, Jack. You've played at the Petone Rugby Club for nearly a decade. Of course, you're a loyal servant to the Premier Reserve side and their captain, and played a number of Premier games. Tell us about your time at Petone Club, and what was your most memorable game at the club?
Yeah, got a lot of ties with Petone, a lot of family history through there. We've got, I think I'm the fourth generation going through the club, so that's always going to be home for me. Playing there straight out of school was good, getting into the under-21 system, and slowly working up into the senior ones, and dabbling a little bit in the Prem. I think my favourite memory for the club would be winning, I think it was the 2017 Ed Chaney Cup, when again, we were a team that weren't the favourites going through the season, and we ended up finishing fourth, and toppling Tawa and then OBU in the final. That was definitely that was an awesome success. And at the club, you only get a photo on the wall if you win a grade. So that was something that that I was pretty stoked to be a part of. And I know the old man, he captained the senior first side as well when they won the Ed Chaney Cup, to share that memory with him and be part of that family history is a pretty awesome feeling.
And Eastbourne is your club at present. Tell us when you joined them and why you joined them.
Yeah, so I played quite a few games for Eastbourne. I used to do the old switch club at the end of our senior season for the under-21s or the senior reserves. Back in the day, Eastbourne and the under-85 grade would play about 5 games past when our season finished. So I used to do the old club transfer and go and play there. I got a lot of my mates from Silverstream and boys from out in the Hutt Valley that play for the club. So it's good to get back alongside them. Otherwise, I only ever get to play with them at school. So I had a full season there in 2016 when I first started teaching. Sort of wanted to take a break from the senior rugby, and I love the club out there, and got a good coaching staff and a good team, and it's a fun environment. So yeah, happy to be playing with them this year.
And of course, you played in the match at the stadium for the National Under 85 kg tournament, which now is a massive lure for a lot of late weight players to continue on playing. Tell us about the impact of the national tournament on the 85 game and playing on the stadium.
Yeah, I certainly never thought that a stadium game would come playing for Eastbourne in the under 85s. But that was a great experience, being live on Sky Sport. And like you said, it's good that 85 grade getting that boost with the national comp. I think this year there's over 50 teams sort of entered in the comp, which is great to see. I know up in Auckland it's been a strong competition for a long time, and down in Wellington, the numbers have sort of been dwindling in terms of how many teams are entered in the grade. But I think it's a great boost, and being able to sort of enter a Barbarian side this year will be quite good for some clubs, or even just mates that want to play together and chuck in a team, which it's cool.
Why have the 85 numbers been dropping in Wellington compared to other areas, and why are Eastbourne so strong in that division now compared with others?
I definitely think for Eastbourne, that game last year and the success we had in the comp has drawn quite a few new players. Like, we've got a really tidy side this year, and at pre-season training we were getting like numbers of 30 showing up to HQ HW short, which is sort of unheard of. And the coaches were in a difficult position of having to put players in rotations, and I think they're still now scratching their heads each week with some of the selections. I don't know why under 85 numbers have been dropping in Wellington. I think you've seen that across the board when it comes to school rugby and even Premier level rugby. Clubs having to not field senior reserve sides, or maybe not being able to field an under 21 side. It's a shame to see that happening, but the clubs I've always played for have always had strong numbers and a strong draw, and that maybe what put it down to the team culture or the coaching staff, or sort of just the vibe you get when you chuck on the jersey.
And strong numbers are expected on Saturday for the centenary celebrations. What's planned?
Yeah, it's a big weekend for the club. I think they're doing sort of a 3-day event. On Friday, they're having a dinner, and I think Scotty Stevenson's coming down to MC the night. So there'll be a few old timers there and a few locals from the RSA that show up to that. I know on Saturday they're putting on a bit of a live band and stuff like that, which would be cool. I know you guys are going to be there, I think, live streaming the game, which is exciting to have Eastbourne back on TV. And yeah,
not
Sunday,
quite Sky.
Yeah, not quite Sky, but hey, next year's thing, I suppose. But yeah, on Sunday they're going to have a bit of a recovery session. I think a few of the boys are going to need the bacon buddies they put on in the morning and stuff like that. So it's going to be a good weekend down at the club, and they've done a lot of renovations there, and they've chucked on a new deck and stuff like that. And usually after every training, the whole team go back for a beer in the club rooms, and there's always the local guys that are there having dinner or having a beer at the RSA. And it's a nice club looking out over the water, and it's good to be a part of.
It's also going to be quite special this weekend too, if either you win or draw against Huddy Hui Marist, which you are the favourites to do, because you will more than likely end up being the first round winners and getting the JC Bowl.
Yeah, I think it's definitely motivating the boys this weekend. I mean, we never take any opposition lightly, but it's the first year the club's sort of gone undefeated up until this point in the first round, and I think probably the first year that they've even had a look in at getting the JC Bowl. So, and being the 100th year and centenary celebrations for the club, it's going to be a massive motivation. So I hope we can put on a good performance and we can continue playing like we have. Stringing those phases together, and the boys are up for it. I definitely know that.
Who are some of the people behind the centenary organisation? Because those events don't happen with rabbits out of hats.
Yeah, well, in terms of the rugby team itself, I know that Greg Halford's put a bit of work into it. He's always sort of down at the club, and he's a strong presence in our coaching staff, and he's definitely driving a lot of the celebrations. Our manager, Willie Davis, he's sort of the one that's organising us to buy all our tickets and everything like that. Rugby team can be hard to organise in that respect, but those are the couple of guys that I know that are really driving the centenary weekend. And so they're going to put on a show.
Well, Jack, it's been fantastic having you on the Huddy Hui. We'll see you out at HW Short on Saturday. Go well.
Yeah, cheers, mate. Thanks for having me.
Well, Adam, Jack Cole's a loyal servant to the game, and his involvement in coaching at Wellington College and with Eastbourne. It's fantastic to see.
It's going to be a great weekend at Eastbourne, Brad, and it's a real privilege to be invited to broadcast that game. Eastbourne, founded in 1921 over a keg of Spates in Rata Street, Nainai. They developed a jersey with the same colours of the Springboks who were touring that year. And in fact, when the Springboks and the All Blacks played in Wellington, a test match billed the heavyweight championship of the world back then, they actually trained in Eastbourne, and the manager of the team was from Eastbourne. So Eastbourne with a proud connection to the All Blacks and indeed the Wellington rugby community. In 1930, they were runners-up in the Jubilee Cup final to Petone. That's their best ever result. And this 85 kg outfit that they presently have has been in existence since 2002. It's now the elite squad in the club. They've been in the semi-finals or the final of the Division 1 competition for 5 consecutive years, unbeaten in 2021, looking to secure the first round championship for the first time. And who knows, could they cap 100 years with overall honours?
Wow, that would be a fantastic achievement for a small club like Eastbourne, who are known for their Spartan-like play and were brought up in tough tradition, Adam, because when the club first started in 1921, there was no electricity in Eastbourne.
Well, there was no gentrification there either. Eastbourne, a very nice part of town now. But yes, that's an extraordinary story from the Eastbourne Centenary booklet. No showers, dodgy lights, and a club, basically a ferry ride from anywhere else in the city. So they really relied on a lot of the support from high-powered friends, including Ted Griffiths and Rangi, the All Blacks, and they have fashioned a fine record of participation and success in their 100 years. Rangi Wilson, apologies, was the All Black involved in the early days of Eastbourne.
HW Short Park, it's the one ground I've never refereed at or been to, so really looking forward to the experience out there this Saturday. But of course, they've had some loyal servants to the game. Dan Hewson played over 250 games for the Eastbourne. And who can forget the man himself, Rod Father Plummer?
Rod Plummer was a top athlete and played for Eastbourne well into his 50s. He retired in 2018 and went to Brisbane, where he now lives. But Rod Plummer was an accomplished man about town too. He was involved in the inauguration of the Hutt City Sports Awards in 2011. And on the subject of the Hutt City Sports Awards, I just want to say congratulations to the Petone media team, Hack Fridge, and the boys that run that podcast. We know how difficult it is to put together a production of quality. Yours is infinitely more entertaining than ours. And we're really proud of you for winning that award. It's fantastic, the promotion that you do, and great to see the recognition that Petone have got. There are, of course, other clubs that do fine social media work, but those guys at Petone really do have something quite unique going on, and I was thrilled to see them win the media prize on Thursday night.
Well, it was a fantastic achievement, Adam, for the Petone club. They've put a lot of hard work into their social media and also building the profile of the club and all its history. I mean, just reward for their hard work. Well, Adam, this weekend we're at Eastbourne. Eastbourne 85s take on Huddle Boys Marist under 85s. It's 1 versus 9 on the table. And for the first round of the JC Bowl, the game will be broadcast live on sideline.live. The game is earlier this weekend, allowing more time for festivities. The game will kick off at 1:30 p.m. So the coverage will start from 1:25. Adam, should be a great game.
It will be a great game. Huddle Boys Marists themselves turned 100 in 2010, beat Petone 22-15 on the occasion of their centenary. It was such a horrid day while the Hutt Rec was being relayed. The game had to be moved from the number 1 field to the number 2 field. No prospect of that in Eastbourne. If the game gets moved, it might be at Days Bay. But Eastbourne versus Huddle Boys Marist for the centenary celebrations of Eastbourne on Saturday from 1:30. Join us then. It's going to be a real beauty.
Sideline.live is the site in partnership with Huddy Sports, and that is the Huddy Hui for tonight. Many thanks to our guests, Aidan Morgan and Jack Coles. We'll be back next week. Ciao for now.